From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I'm your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, we have them free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show and on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. You know what? At the end of each month, we come in, we hang out, we take a look at the month that was. It gives us a night to breathe, relax, and just kind of discuss and debate everything that went on in the weird and strange. And that's why we call it the SOR Paranormal Roundtable. Everything paranormal, supernatural, ufological, monstrous, and even, you know, we'll get into some consciousness and stuff. The guests have no clue what the topics are, so they will have to be quick on their feet to answer some of the questions I'm going to throw at them. Our guest tonight, Bryan Bowden, podcast extraordinary. He's got about 7,000 of them out there. Yeah, and he still makes $0 off of all of them. I don't know how he does it, but he breaks even every time. Richie G from Goof On Radio, our UFO historian, William Pullin, our resident witch, Lynn Wallington, Michael Huntington, one of the best and probably most level-headed researchers, writers, authors in the paranormal, supernatural, UFO world. We're glad to have him here. And, of course, Eric Cooper from S4 Radio. He's brought along his team of Kayla and Cole as well. Be careful, because Cole is a Saskatchewan Rough Riders fan. And, you know, I mean, this is a guy who puts watermelons on his head in minus 30-degree Celsius weather. So you can never trust a guy like that. Never, ever trust a guy like that. Yeah. Anyways, we're going to kick things off here because we're going to go right the full distance tonight, and I appreciate each and every one of you coming on in. And we are going to hit the hot button topic of UFOs right off the bat. A week and a half ago, there was a New York Times article in regards to UFOs, giving us an update of what is going on. And there was a misquote of sorts, or was it, by Senator Harry Reid, the former senator of Nevada, basically, to paraphrase, stated that there could be crash retrieval objects here on Earth that may be intact, maybe not, but we know about it. Michael Huntington, I want to start with you on this one because I know you've been following this story closely. What was your thoughts on that original article that just came out 10 days ago?
Times article written by Leslie Kane and Blumenthal. What's his first name?
Ralph
Blumenthal. That's right. And they have written a few articles about UFOs before. Most notably, the one in 2017 that launched the whole ATIP story and the Nimitz story into the media and the popular culture. And this was one of the much anticipated follow-ups. Probably a little bit too anticipated because people had been talking about it within UFO circles for months. I think I heard about a new article coming, I think it was back in February. So the buzz was sort of there, and people were wondering if it was going to be another bombshell type story like 2017. Well, what we got was allusions to a UFO crash retrieval program. The information within the article was based upon secret sources. Yes, there were some quotes or paraphrased quotes by Harry Reid and others. The typical players within the To the Stars ATIP circle there, and it's sort of. It made a bit of a punch because, anything in the Times is going to be regurgitated throughout the media, but they had to walk it back a little bit. as far as the sources, whether they were quoted correctly, what their information was, how accurate it was. Reed actually walked it back quite a bit and, made a statement saying that he did not say that he believed that extraterrestrials were visiting the planet. So since then, there was a profile article sort of trying to manage some of the damage there, but a little bit of blame being put on the UFO community for talking too much, for increasing expectations, for possibly causing their story to not be as powerful as they thought it would be. So it's not really something that maybe people in the mainstream or people outside of the UFO community really saw too much. In their news feed, they certainly saw it. They saw sort of allusions to there possibly being some sort of crash material somewhere, possibly extraterrestrial in origin. And of course, as I said, as the stories were regurgitated, that's what gets out there. And,
right.
What happens next, we shall see. I don't think it made as big as a punch as people thought. Mostly because, even people within the community are kind of, wondering what's going on. We know who the people are. We know who the sources are, Eric Davis and, help put off folks like that. But
right.
Whether or not these journalists, maybe gave them too much credibility without enough vetting, those are issues that are still being debated.
All right, and I think you brought up some huge points there. I want to get into the next topic a little bit later on about the retraction from Harry Reid and the follow-up article where it almost felt, at least in my eyes, that Ralph Blumenthal and Leslie Kean were scolding the UFO community in the New York Times, and we will get into that. William Pullin, I want to bring you in here. You've been following this very closely on your end, being a UFO historian. The article aside, what did you think of the lead up to it, and what did you think of the way the UFO community reacted?
Well, I mean, the UFO community has a penchant for overreacting or reading too much into an article or a press release or what have you. And this release was discussed before its release. There were rumors that it was coming out, like Michael said, a few months prior to this. And when it came out, usually people in the community take a position. They're either pro or con, and they're very extremist. They either wholeheartedly embrace something or they don't believe it at all. And that kind of hype, whether positive or negative, kind of influences the thought process of everybody in the community. The UFO community tends to throw caution to the wind and embrace things without thinking, okay, let's just sit back, let time pass, see what transpires, see what develops or doesn't develop, and go from there. Instead, they embrace it wholeheartedly. So there's this backtracking that's going on now. There's damage repair has kind of left the community kind of in limbo. Yes, a major news outlet is discussing the UFO topic, which didn't happen decades ago. So that's a positive change. But because things are being retracted and walked back, the quality of the information contained within the article, within the original one, has to be questioned a little bit because they're having to backtrack things now. They're having to recant things that were stated or allegedly stated. So again, I'm with Michael. I'm kind of going to sit back and see what transpires as time goes on. The original story, well, not the original story, but the story that broke in 2017 that was released. I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. It was such a big announcement. I kept waiting for some other announcement to come down the road. And usually that transpires, a few weeks later, a few months later, so that you don't lose momentum. And nothing really happened until this article came out. So that's a long period of time. So they might have misplayed their hand, but whoever they are. But I'm just cautiously waiting to see what transpires and see what happens in the weeks to come.
Bryan Bowden, you have been following this as well from the East Coast. What has been the reaction to this article and the people you have talked to?
Well, there's a lot of people that are really excited. They've always wanted to have some kind of disclosure, to have their hands held and walk through this. There are other people in the area that are where we're taking a wait and see approach, because I got the vibe once Harry Reid started, recanting everything. I was going to see a picture of him holding a weather balloon on the front cover of the Times. So this is very much like Roswell. I feel bad for the Marcel family at this point, because it's like, deja vu. So, you got people that want some more information, drop some more, bombs on us. But I think people at the Times got a little too aggressive really quickly. And I think there's a lot more to be revealed from whatever sources they're going to be using or utilizing, in quotes. But it's a wait and see. I don't personally need disclosure. As a researcher, some people in the community definitely need it for some reason, almost like a "I told you so" type of. They want that reaction, but it's interesting. I'm not totally focused on it though.
All right, Richie G, let's bring you in here, because I know you have talked about this on Goof On Radio a lot this past 10 days, and I'm curious, how has the reaction been with your audience?
A little confused, but now upset. Well, it's all emotions, because at first we thought we were going to see, maybe the beginning of disclosure. And then a lot of us were sitting back saying, well, come on, this has happened before. They're going to retract something. And sure enough, the next day they did. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. Well, I could, but I didn't think it was going to be that soon. It's just a lot of different reactions from different people. People still think, because that was said in the article, that is the beginning of disclosure. That's them accidentally letting us hear the truth. So we have that end that we look at, and also the other end where, they really didn't mean to say it. It's an accident. We don't have anything. But it's every emotion's on the table right now. We don't know what to expect.
And that is a tough one. What do we expect? Eric Cooper, bring you in here and your team.
So we discussed, and you threw me off because I didn't realize that a brand new series of articles came out yesterday. The whole Pentagon thing we actually talked about last weekend, and I shake my head because the way we see it, disclosure happened in 52 with the White House flyover. A lot of people expected disclosure in 2017. Now the attitude I'm seeing is, who cares? Most people are so focused on COVID, they're focused on the riots, they're focused on everything else, and now they're going to bring out disclosure, really? Because they expect people to go, okay, cool, whatever. And a lot of them are.
Plus,
now,
half of them can't believe what the government says when it comes to anything, so why would they believe them now about this?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the attitude we're seeing on this end. What's going to happen? What's going to happen is anybody's guess. Are they going to actually bring out more stuff that's going to be, the smoking gun? Who knows?
Well, that's a good point. Lynn Hartram, or Wallington. I'm sorry, you changed your last name. Yeah, just screwing me right up here. Lynn, with the air conditioning. Yes. How is that air conditioned room right now, by the way?
It's hot because it's not on.
Try my studio right now. You're a former member of MUFON a few years ago, and a former member of the Free Experiencers that Dr. Edgar Mitchell put up. When you look at everything, I mean, you were hands-on there for a while and trying to learn everything that's going on. Does this surprise you?
No, not at all. I think anytime we seem to get any sort of information from the government, and I have information in quotes there, it's always convoluted and seems like they give a little and take a little. So it's really not surprising at all. It's kind of par for the course, really.
Why is that par for the course, and why is that acceptable in your eyes?
Well, I never said it was acceptable. It just
maybe
seems
not
to
acceptable
be
for you, but
right.
They force this acceptance on us, is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Well, we can't really force them to say it at this point in time. And I agree that The timing of it is interesting during COVID. It's definitely a time period where people could be like, well, is this really something we need to be concentrating on right now? We have so many other things that we're focusing on. So it's certainly interesting that they put it out at this time. I honestly don't quite know what to make of it. And I tend to take the same stance of just kind of sitting back and watching what happens to see what's coming next.
And that's the hard part for a lot of us, because we want more. They give us an inch and we want a mile. I mean, and that's the reality of it. Michael, I bring you back in here for a minute here, because one of the things, and you have done a lot of writing over the years, and one of the things that I noticed in the UFO community, especially with me having a radio and journalism background, was how many people were ripping into Ralph Blumenthal and Leslie Kean for the misquote of Harry Reid. Now, for people who have never worked in a newsroom, I will say this, and that's the majority of our listeners out there, and even majority of people in ufology. Okay, when the story leaves the writer's hands, they have no control over it. It is all on the editors. And the other point that I wanted to make on there is, when you're doing an interview of that magnitude with Ralph, whether it's Ralph Blumenthal or Leslie Kean, and you have Senator Harry Reid talking about this, you are recording the interview. You're not just sitting there on a phone call and, trying to type out what Harry says, and you maybe misquote on your keyboard, and you don't want to go back because he's giving you healthy information and you're trying to write it all down. That's not the way it works. You're recording that. So when you saw Harry Reid come out, Michael, and kind of take a very firm and stern stance on the misquote, saying that he was misquoted, what was your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's being parsed now as, him not being necessarily misquoted, but, misphrased. That's sort of a semantical sort of thing. Now, as to the journalist issue, I'm not going to question the journalistic skills of people that write for the New York Times. I respect anybody that gets to that level. But as far as criticisms, I think that they are open to criticisms, not necessarily for their, how they do things journalistically, but I think Leslie and Ralph, anybody within the UFO community knows that they've been fixtures within the community for decades. They've been activists for decades. They've been on radio shows, television shows, documentaries. They are not as necessarily unbiased as you would anticipate from a journalist working for the New York Times. So there is that. And they are plugged into the community. They are friends with people like Harry Reid. They are personal friends, with people like Eric Davis, Hal Puthoff. A lot of these people have worked together. Leslie Kean's on the board of UFO Data with Christopher Mellon, so, people can raise these issues as far as whether or not there's conflicts, whether or not there's biases. I think that those are questions that, are worthwhile and valid. Now, what are they up to? What are they doing? Are they part of some, disclosure program? I don't know. I do think that there is certainly coordination between a lot of these groups, TSA, ATIP, a lot of the media type people, these people talk to each other and they communicate, so a lot of this stuff is sort of timed to coincide with other things. So I think that's why the story came out. And I think that they probably did paraphrase a little bit. I think that they do, have quotes, but I don't think it was necessarily a formal sort of thing, I think probably through conversations, a lot of their quotes came through that.
Well, I mean, and that's the big debate. They would have to produce the tape, which I think they have. But I also think that the loathing of the UFO community that people in that ilk have, because the TTSA doesn't want to be a part of the UFO community. We know that. We also know that Leslie Kean is not a fan of the UFO community. Ralph Blumenthal is not a fan of the UFO community. We know that they are trying to stay right away from us. And I think that's all part of a narrative that I've called since day one of the TTSA coming out. When you have a pressless press conference, it's very hard to get people out. Eric Cooper, I want to get your thoughts on this because, I know that you've been following this since the beginning along with me, and we've talked many times off the air about this. So when you look at that alleged misquote by Senator Harry Reid, do you think that was a misstep on the reporters, or do you think the UFO community has every right to be upset with the fact that the senator was allegedly misquoted?
I would go with the media. The media misquotes everything, right from right from politics down to the UFO community. So I would point it mostly at the media. Harry Reid came out in 2017, and they never misquoted him back then, did they?
No, I mean, but that's the issue.
So, here's the thing. I think certain factions within media, within government, still don't want disclosure to happen. We know a lot of the mainstream media is controlled by different aspects of the government, different aspects of corporations. They don't want disclosure. Disclosure is going to happen whether they like it or not. So, yeah, I would say it was a misquote by the media.
All right. Moving on here. Lynn, I want to bring you in here on this topic because, I mean, in the circles you're running with and the people you have talked to over the last 10 days, I realize you're not really in the UFO field anymore, but you still have a lot of friends who are. Do you believe that there was something solved there, that there was information that maybe shouldn't have been given?
I'm not sure. It's hard to say, really. I think that kind of how I've always perceived information coming out from the government, it's kind of drip fed. And the people that I've talked with, because I've mostly talked with experiencers, not so much kind of UFO researchers, is they're just looking for that validation. And so I think that that's why they so desperately want to have disclosure. And that's why it's so important. But at the same time, I think we also, we can't really read more into what's there. So for me personally, I don't really know how they're feeling about it. I think there's just a mixed bag.
All right, we're going to continue on with the Paranormal Roundtable here on Spaced Out Radio. We got a big crew: Brian Bowden, Rich Giordano, William Pullin, Lynn Wallington, Michael Huntington, Eric Cooper, Cole, and Kayla, all from S4 as well. And we're going to continue with this question because there's a lot of UFO talk this past month, and we're going to dig in deep as we continue the roundtable right after this.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you'd know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
We're taking Sunday nights out of this world on Spaced Out Radio. This is Michael W. Hall, also known as the Paranormal Lawyer. Together, we're going to go on an exciting journey into the unknown. I'm going to bring you some of the best interviews in the paranormal and supernatural to start your new week off on a freaky note. So tune in to Spaced Out Sundays with me, Michael W. Hall, only on spacedoutradio.com.
Second half hour of the Paranormal Roundtable is underway tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott. sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have each and every one of you with us tonight. I want to remind you, if you missed portions of this show, you can check out our free archives at youtube.com/spaced out radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. On Instagram, you can follow us at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. The roundtable continues tonight. We got a huge panel. Bryan Bowden, he's got something like 7,200 podcasts out there. From Goof on Radio, Rich Giordano, UFO historian William Pullin. From S4, we got Coop, we got Cole, we got Kayla, we got Michael Huntington, who is one of the most respected researchers and writers in the UFO paranormal world, and Lynn Wallington as well. We're continuing on. The question right before the break, Rich, was about the misquote of Senator Harry Reid in the New York Times article. I don't believe for a second that quote was misquoted, because knowing journalism and the way journalists work, that phone call would have been recorded. Even if it was in person, it would have been recorded. And I think he said something that he probably shouldn't have and wanted it retracted. What do you think, Rich?
It's exactly what I think happened. I think he said something he shouldn't have said and retracted it. But I'm confused. Wasn't he just quoting what Eric Davis said? Or no? No. He basically stated that. I'll find the quote here, and then I will read the original. The only reason I'm asking, because I only read it the one time and then talked about it, and I just want to make sure I'm right, because to me it would seem like if they retracted it, that's something they would have seen and caught and would have made sure it never went public. It's almost like it went rogue.
Well, can we blame the reporters for that, though, Rich? Is that the reporter's fault? I don't think it is, but I'm asking you.
I don't know. I guess how can it be? I mean, if he's verifying information, maybe he did get wrong information on purpose.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, so the quote, and I believe this was changed in the New York Times article. It says, after looking into this, I came to the conclusion that there were reports, some were substantive, some not so substantive, that there were actual materials that the government and the private sector had in their possession. Mr. Reid was quoted as saying. And then at the end of the article, they printed the correction, which says an earlier version of this article inaccurately rendered remarks attributed to Harry Reid, the retired Senate Majority Leader from Nevada. Mr. Reid said he believed that crashes of objects of unknown origin may have occurred and that retrieved material should be studied. He did not say that crashes had occurred and that retrieved materials had been studied secretly for decades. An earlier version also misstated the frequency with which the Director of National Intelligence is supposed to report on unidentified aerial phenomena. It has 180 days after enactment of the Intelligence Authorization Act, not every 6 months. So, there is the discrepancy right there. And Rich, I just want a final statement on you on this one. A story of this magnitude, has the ability to go viral, which it has. Now, do you think that Harry Reid is cautious about what he is saying because of his non-disclosure agreements, because of his top secret security? What do you think it is?
I think he knows. I think he knows some things, and it sounds like a little bit of backpedaling, but he has to protect himself. Of course, there's a disclosure agreement. There has to be. I mean, wouldn't that make sense, right? If it's something that has to be top secret or never discussed in public, you would have to have sign a non-disclosure agreement.
Absolutely. All right, William Pullin, your thoughts?
I agree with you, Dave. I would think at that level of their time of their careers, these journalists would have recorded those phone calls, which would have made it a lot easier to transcribe things accurately. So a misquote is less likely in that scenario. And I agree with Rich that, Reid is going to have to be cautious, regardless of what he knows or not. He has to be a cautious individual. Now he's a civilian, and he's under a non-disclosure agreement. We're assuming a non-disclosure agreement scenario. So, yeah, regardless of the level of knowledge he has, or any specific knowledge he has, he has to be cautious. So
He can't
I
come
guess so
He can't come out and say, I didn't mean to interrupt. I thought you stopped. He can't come out and say, yeah, we have these off-world materials or anything. He's not going to admit it. There's no way.
Yeah, one wouldn't expect it. Yeah.
Hey, Dave.
One would expect a more cautious statement. Yeah.
Big time.
All right, Mike.
Especially
is that you chiming in?
Yeah. Well, I think we sort of have to take a step back and try to figure out, what material they're talking about. And certainly Harry Reid, has been read in, to, what ATIP was doing, what Bigelow Aerospace was doing, what the National Institute for Discovery Science was doing, and, Eric Davis, Hal Puthoff, a lot of these same players, are connected to all of these. So, we have to figure out, what materials is he referring to? And I think most likely what he's referring to is whatever was warehoused allegedly at one time, by Bigelow Aerospace, whatever they were able to gain from whatever cases they were connected to. Bigelow Aerospace at one time was hooked in with MUFON and bought paid for a considerable amount of access to some of their case files, and from what I've been told, they've actually were able to go to some locations and were able to actually gather physical material. So certainly, I think Reid is probably referring to that. I think he's aware of the stuff that's been out there. That has been handled and has been controlled and tested by Puthoff and Davis and others connected to these groups. And now, whether or not it's crashed materials, whether or not it's materials that have been obtained from landings, whether or not it's materials that have been sent in, we're seeing To the Stars actually starting to analyze some of these same things, Ubatuba and, some of these other cases that were actually part of some of these investigations. So I think Reid is correct in saying, that there have been materials that have been obtained. And I think he's trying to clarify that, he's not saying that, we have a crashed flying saucer, in, S4 or Area 51, or a fleet of 9 of them, because, that's entirely something different. And I don't think he wants to go into that area, that opens up a whole other can of worms, like if we do have an S4 with a fleet of flying saucers, parts don't mean nothing. And really, ATIP's mission doesn't mean anything. If they're looking at Nimitz videos while we have a fleet of flying saucers, I mean, that's sort of a big contradiction in, what the aims and goals are. And I think, why would Harry Reid want to put forth an ATIP-like group? Why would Bigelow want to put forward, funding of Bass and gather these materials if we already have this stuff, locked away and it's being covered up, So
very true.
It's a big mixed bag, and some of these accounts don't wash with each other. I don't think Lazar's account necessarily really washes at all with having parts or having pieces. So Bigelow is a personal friend of Harry Reid. They come from the same state. He's a billionaire donor, to his campaign over the years. So, he certainly knows what's going on. I think probably some people, probably Bigelow, told him, you need to kind of correct that a little bit because we don't want people thinking that there's, we have crashed saucers because
I agree.
That's a different thing.
Absolutely, Michael. The roundtable continues tonight. Brian, we're going to shift the focus here. Sticking with UFOs, though, Ralph Blumenthal and Leslie Kean, in my estimation, came out with an article a few days later after this, basically, in my opinion, I thought they were really separating themselves from the UFO community. They were stating the fact that they were journalists first, that, the question shouldn't be about UFOs. Do we believe in them? The answer is no. And I felt the article, and this is just me, okay, and I could be completely wrong, but to me, I felt the article was very condescending towards the UFO community. What was your thoughts when you read that, Bryan?
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with you 100%. You see, the problem you have is the UFO community. I mean, throughout time, it's never taken seriously. Even though you have MUFON, you have, Academy to the Stars, and all these other big-time people, talking about it and researching it, it's always the tinfoil hat club. And people want to separate that from, the New York Times with, Pulitzer Prizes and journalism 101, the best of the best. So you kind of want to keep your distance at this point to hedge your own bet. Just like Reed's backtracking on that, they're backtracking on this, because if their main star witness of this case would be Reed is saying, whoa, you misquoted me. They don't want to be looking like fools, and they're associated with the New York Times. They could have had outside pressure on this too, internally from the Times, saying, listen, bring this back, reel it in. We don't need this. We have other things that we have to do, and no one's going to take us seriously if they think we're wearing tinfoil hats. So that's what I felt with was going on right here. Everybody's kind of like, they took that giant leap, and then they realized, I got to get back indoors on this one. No, let's back it up. Let's kind of like firm up who we are. But the bottom line is, people that are into this subject matter, the community, and people have been researching it, they know. I mean, they're excited about this. This is very exciting news. Someone's the U.S. is finally coming out when other countries have come out and talked about their files. Now we're saying we have stuff. So it's exciting, but I think there's more to this article that they really kept close to their vest. Their editor really reeled them in on this one. And I agree. This is the reason why. Let's baby step this one. We'll put out another one maybe in a month. We'll throw it in there someplace.
William, I want to get your opinion on this, because you are one of the, in my opinion, top historians in the field of ufology, and you've done a lot of work with Roswell. Does this not feel like there's a cover-up going on? When you read that article, did you feel that you were almost being talked down to?
No, not at all. I think Ken Blumenthal, as journalists, have to maintain a non-biased, objective attitude toward any story they write, which means you have to keep some level of distance. Is that being done? I mean, that you could argue that either way. As far as the cover-up, I'm the idea that there's a cover-up overall of the UFO topic has been popularized since the mid-1950s. Do we definitively know there is? I don't know. I know the government made great efforts to lessen the importance of UFO sightings. My mind immediately goes to the Robertson panel of 53. So that was an effort along those lines. Blue Book was not really an investigative group. It was a PR firm, pretty much, other than when Ed Ruppelt was heading the group. Is there a definitive cover-up? I would cautiously say yes, but I don't know if it's in the form most people in the community think it is. But again, we don't know. I mean, we're all civilians here. We're not privy to that information. We're not able to examine it to come to some sort of consensus. We're not. So, but as far as the article, no, I didn't feel like I was being talked down at all. Not at all.
All right. I'll disagree with you on that one. I felt there was a little bit of a condescending attitude there, and that's okay. We're allowed to disagree here. Lynn, when you look at everything that you're hearing here, all right, coming from this article, I'm not sure if you got a chance to read that New York Times article afterwards, but is there in your opinion, a real separation between those who claim to be getting things done and the UFO community?
I did get a chance to read it. Now, when you say claim to be getting things done, are you referring to the people they were talking about in the article, I'm assuming, correct?
Exactly.
Okay. I don't think there is a huge difference. I would say the only thing that really separates them is the amount that they're willing to say. And I also didn't find this article condescending. It didn't surprise me. I grew up in a very military family. My dad was in the military. My grandfather, my uncle, my mom, my two brothers. There's a lot of military in my family, and this is simply the way they talk about things that are classified. And so I didn't really find it condescending, and I don't think that there is a huge disconnect, other than the fact that the UFO community is obviously much more willing to talk openly and evaluate what they have seen and the things that are available to them, which is not very much. And the government obviously has, I would say much more than we do. So I think this article served as a very a small stepping stone. I wouldn't say a bridge between the two, but a very small stepping stone.
All right. I guess I'm getting schooled here. Giordano, let's get you in here.
What do you want to know? If I think that was condescending?
Yes.
Not really. No, I didn't feel like it was. Honestly, I just felt like they were just being matter-of-factly about things.
I'm proud of my tinfoil hat.
Yeah.
Cooper would agree with me.
But why do you think that? What part of it makes you feel that way?
Just
the tone?
The tone of the writing to me, where they say, but in this case, we have no problem responding. No, we don't believe in UFOs. As we see it, their existence or non-existence is not a matter of belief. Then they go into this quote from Margaret Mead, where she called it a silly question back in 1974, where it says belief has to do with matters of faith. It has nothing to do with the kind of knowledge that is based on scientific inquiry. Do people in the sun or believe in the sun or the moon or the changing seasons or the chairs they're sitting on? So they went on this real tangent about this. And I kind of looked at that and I thought, you two have the most powerful journalism in North America right now regarding this subject, and you're kind of slapping people down with an article about whether or not you should believe in UFOs. Okay, do we believe in UFOs? That's the wrong question. Reporting on the Pentagon program. I thought that was to me, it was condescending. I could be wrong. It's just the way I took it.
Well,
totally agree.
They're saying no, but yet the way they're saying it is that they're saying yes. They're saying no, we don't believe, because believe is not a thing. Belief is sort of a personal religious concept. But they know that UFOs exist in the sense that people see unidentified objects, in the sense that there are unidentified aerial phenomena that are being encountered. And they've been on the speaker circuit, and they've been on other programs. They do lean towards that notion that that kind of goes beyond just that basic definition. They do lean towards the extraterrestrial aspect to it. That's why they say not of this world, that not of this earth. They're mirroring what Davis believes. Has been part of some of these programs that analyze some of this material. And they're friends with these people as well. They, like I said, they move in some of these same circles. So
I'm going to cut you off there because you just brought up a very good point here. Okay, very good point. The fact is, you said that they are friends with a number of these people. Now, in that article, they are claiming unbiasedness. They are claiming journalistic integrity, and I'm not questioning that, okay? Because you don't win a Pulitzer Prize like Ralph Blumenthal did without being damn good at what you do. You know what I'm saying? So it isn't a shot on that, okay? But Leslie Kean, we also know she has worked for Bigelow. We know that she has been published by the TTSA. We know, I believe, one of her books or her latest book or something was, or she was signed on for them or something. We know that she has had ties with other government officials regarding that. We know she has ties to TTSA. Now, is it insider or is it friendly? That's what we don't know.
Right.
After you read...
Go ahead. It could be both. I was just going to say it could be both. Go ahead.
No, but after you read that statement, I now remember what I felt when I read that part. And I felt like they were kind of being condescending, like they were pushing it off to the side, like, oh, those crazy thinking, faithful people. That's how I remember feeling.
You know what? And they should have done something similar to that, what they did in the later article, in the initial, saying, you know, we're coming to you as on a neutral perspective here. We're not believers of these craft, but we're reporting it. They should have somehow put that in the first one, but they went full bore. They said, yep, we got it. There's craft, there's all this stuff. And then they got caught and they pulled back. And, you know, everybody's trying to save face at this point. Was it a friend, one of their friends saying, listen, you got to cool it off, you know, bring it back a little bit. And then they come up with this article to publish. And it is condescending. It really is a slap in the face to anybody else, you know, in this community, to say, hey, we don't believe in it, even though you losers do. You know, so, it's basically the equivalent of that, in my opinion.
How should they have retracted the statement?
They
should have just retracted it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not okay. So at that point, it's not Blumenthal and Kane who retracted. Okay. It's the New York Times that has to. All right.
Exactly.
So that's how it goes. The New York Times has to retract it. It has nothing to do with Kane.
Yeah, the first article was retracted. You know, the quote from Reed was retracted, and they made a correction when they made reference to the UFO task force and the current legislation that's pending that said that there would be a report issued every 6 months. So that was a factual inaccuracy that was retracted. The second article was not so much an article as it was a profile. You know, it was one of those New York Times, you know, behind the scenes, how do our journalists work sort of type things. So there's different standards within that. You know, they can give more of their opinion as opposed to, you know, the strict standards of a professional article. So, you know, the second one can be a little more condescending and loose, and you know, they can parse their words and change things. But there certainly has been a tone from them. You know, the article didn't turn out the way they necessarily wanted as far as, you know, a punch, you know, like the 2017 article. You know, and maybe they resent that. Maybe they resent the UFO community. I do think that there are different classes and certainly different cliques within ufology, the UFO world. You know, you have your young guns, you know, which are your TTSA proponents. You have your traditional, you know, researchers, you know, the old guard, you know, which, you know, I consider myself to be a part of. And then you have your professional class, you know, your media people. And they sort of run within that.
Michael,
that's a circle that they run with.
Michael, hold that thought, because we're going to continue. This is great conversation for the SOR Paranormal Roundtable that is happening right now. Richie G, Bryan Bowden, Michael Huntington, William Pullin, Lynn Wallington, Eric Cooper, Cole, Kayla are here. Yeah, we got a full house on the SOR Roundtable. Yeah,
we're here.
We're going to continue on right now, right after this.
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent, and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
Hey, Space Travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Kicking off the second hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott, hanging out with all of you. There is no place I would rather be. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Woofler. Woofler is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as a clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. The Paranormal Roundtable continues. We're getting into a lot of UFO talk right now. Our guest tonight on the panel, we have Michael Huntington, UFO researcher and writer. We have Eric Cooper from S4, along with Kayla and Cole. We have Lynn Wallington, our resident witch. William Pullin, UFO historian. Goof on Radio's Rich Giordano. And the man who has literally almost 10,000 podcasts out there. Not shows. That's just individual podcasts. Bryan Bowden out of New York. All right, everyone, coming back here. All right, right before the break, we were talking about the story coming out after the New York Times, a secondary piece by Ralph Blumenthal and Leslie Kane and Bryan, and we're going to start with you on this one in regards to that article that basically, in my mind, it was almost condescending to the UFO field and people who have had experiences. You know, what was your take on this? Was it the same, or did you feel that they were just showing some sort of understanding of what they're trying to write and what they're trying to get out?
So I think it was, again, we're going into this condescending thing, like they're trying to say, belief isn't important, but it is. There's a lot of people who believe in a lot of different things here. And by writing that to the general public from the New York Times, it says your belief means nothing to anybody. It's not real. It's not physical. And, we don't believe in it either. It's just it's a frustrating thing to go through because you said it earlier. This has tones of Roswell all over, people getting excited, all the stuff coming out, and then getting, everything pulled out from underneath you. So as a researcher, I don't need the validation from any country to know that these things are real. But there are some people there, like experiencers. I think Lynn you were mentioning them before. They've had these terrible experiences. And now what you're saying in this New York Times article is it didn't happen. Because you believe it happened, but it didn't happen. Because your belief means nothing. So what do you do with that now? How do you take that?
So when I was reading it, I saw it, I guess, slightly different because I saw it as they were just kind of getting into the semantics of it all, and that just seemed like a distraction technique, really, to kind of get away from what it is. They didn't want to talk about whatever that is. It's just like, well, you know what? Let's just focus on the words here. What exactly does belief mean? And that was kind of the majority of the article. That's how I took it. I didn't necessarily take it as, your belief is wrong. It was it was just more semantics, really. It was a lot of nothing, honestly.
Right. And there's a line in there that says, so if UFOs are no longer a matter of belief, right? What are they, and how do they do what they do? It is a belief. They are believable. They're just as physical and believable as anything else in this world. So how can you say it's not a belief?
Okay,
then what are they?
Okay, so if we were to play devil's advocate, then what if they meant if it's not a belief, it's a fact?
Right.
Well,
yeah.
But that's the whole tone of this article is saying, hey, we made a mistake. We don't believe in it. We're just reporting, and we don't think it's real or whatever. It's really this article should never have been released. What should have happened is what typically happens is the editor, whoever the chief is, puts out a little blurb. We misquoted Harry Reid. He actually said X, Y, and Z, and then leave it up to the ether for everybody to try to well, what are they saying now? What are they doing now? But this went too far. So I think they're backpedaling in this whole thing here, and they're trying to save face.
Well,
I don't think they want to be the UFO paper either, guys. The New York Times, whether you love them or hate them, the New York Times has a very proud 115-year heritage and history. I don't think they want to be known as the National Enquirer for UFOs. Michael, you wanted to make a point.
Well, I want to make a different point, but let me address that right there. Yes, the New York Times doesn't want to be the National Enquirer, but it also wants, it is facing dwindling subscription rates, as all newspapers are. And the 2017 Nimitz story was their most shared and downloaded story in the history of the newspaper. So I think, they're interested in those sort of things. Does it add credibility to the subject? Yes, but the New York Times has also done articles on the Loch Ness Monster. It's done stories on ghosts. It's done stories on exorcisms. These are human interest type stuff. This is a little different because you have political players. So I don't think the Times wants to be the National Enquirer, but it certainly wants to sell papers. Now, as to them saying that UFOs are a matter of, they're not a matter of belief, they're a matter of fact. That's the way I took it. And they're actually right. A UFO is simply just an unidentified flying object. And people see those all the time. Now, as to whether, what it is, what people are seeing, it could be a lot of different things. Most often we default to extraterrestrial, because that's what UFOs are loaded with, culturally for 70 plus, actually going back to the 30s, Martians and flying saucers and whatnot. So, they've been trying to strip that baggage and trying to get to, sort of a reset by, calling UFOs UAP. It sounds more scientific or whatever. And, but they're right in the sense that, UFOs are not a matter of belief. UFOs are a problem. They're a scientific problem. And, it should be looked at scientifically. But we're seeing, sort of, some manipulation here, with media people. Certainly military intelligence and the defense community is involved with this, as they have always been, sort of manipulating this subject. There's always been that sort of, manipulation and playing around with this subject, but ultimately it's a scientific question. Now, there are people out there, disclosurists that, want the government to come out. They want the government, they imagine this day of disclosure where the government comes out, the president or somebody from the Department of Defense and, presents flying saucers, and this is a reality, and ETs are visiting us, and, abducting people and all that. People, especially experiencers, especially, younger people, some of the young guns and whatnot, people that have jumped into this subject, since 2017, a lot of them have, and, they sort of want a validation, they want a vindication for their own experiences, their own belief systems, whatever. Is that what this is? I don't think it is. I think it's an article in the New York Times about UFOs, and there have been plenty of them. And there's, been this sort of thing. There have been secret government UFO studies all the time. They have not stopped. The military intelligence is interested in anything flying around that they don't know what the hell it is. That's a fact.
Always retracting, though. They always have to retract something.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And Rich, you said it perfectly there, because you know what? When in doubt, blame the media. When in doubt, we always got the opportunity to blame the media on something. All right. So, I mean, that's exactly what we're seeing here with everything, is we're blaming the media again for misreporting, for misquoting, for misguiding the people and the readers out there. I mean, that's just what we do all the time. And guys, I saw it all the time when I would be in a dressing room. I never saw a single reporter without a digital voice recorder or a microphone and a tape recorder. Okay, we were always there, and we used to laugh when we would hear, you know, these hockey players or other athletes. Oh, you guys misquoted me. You misquoted me. No, we never misquoted you. You're just backtracking, and because people loathe the media and what the many in the media stand for, okay, that you're gonna gripe us out for misreporting what you said, because we always got it on tape. That's the truth. Any solid reporter always has it on tape. We're going to move on here, because this story, and we're going to continue along the lines here. And William, we're going to start with you, and then Rich, we'll go to you. This has really put another division within the UFO community. All right, and it's having people choose sides, pro-government, pro USA, waving the flag in regards to the UFO world. Okay. And then there's the other side saying, really, it's the same old, we get nothing new, and you guys are just feeding off of scraps. You know, William, this is very much a line in the sand for the UFO community right now.
I guess that's one way to take it. You know, and the community for decades has been fractured. There's cliques within the community. You just described several of them pretty well. So when an article like this comes out, or a story, or a case, or something that becomes known to the entire community in general, those cliques become very prevalent. People declare their positions, whether they believe it or not, or they make their feelings known, and they stick to their guns. And that's not a reference to young guns. I mean, they're people are taking up positions, and then they tend to stay there. So this article now, it came out and it presented some information. People are going to process it the way they usually do, which means they will tend to process things to confirm their own belief structure, whether they believe in the story, whether they don't, whatever their position is. People tend to have an unconscious bias, and they tend to consume information that confirms their own belief structure, instead of just looking at things objectively from afar and saying, okay, what does this article say? What does this article not say? What's being said here? Don't read between the lines. What do the words say? What's being conveyed to the reader? That usually doesn't happen. So, and now with this backtracking scenario, this recanting kind of scenario going on, it's made the situation worse. But to quote one of our other guests, it's kind of par for the course. This always happens. The next story that comes out, the same thing will happen. The cliques will be reconfirmed. People will take up positions, and the fracturing of the community will be maintained. And it's kind of always been like that. But in recent years, it's gotten worse with, I guess, when now the TDSA is active. So that's another avenue, as opposed to just being a MUFON-driven field. That and now with social media out there, with Twitter and Facebook, people can interact and confirm their own biases with their own groups. So it's kind of those scenarios have assisted and made the situation worse. So again, it's part of the course. It's always been like this. All
right, goof on, Rich Giordano.
Can you do me just a small favor? Because I was listening to everything he was saying. I want to make sure I answer the question. Can you repeat it for me?
Well, just in regards to the division of the UFO community again, every time one of these arguments comes out.
So the division, you're always going to have it. I mean, it's just the way it is. People are going to want to believe, and other people are going to say it's just drip, drip, nothing, which is what I believe. I believe, because every 2-3 years, there's always some article or sighting or story or an update on Roswell or new evidence on Bob Lazar. It's always something to get us going, but it always leads to nowhere. And we're back on step one. It's 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. We never go anywhere. I've been saying this for years. And the longer I'm in it, the more I see it. Whether it's disclosure in 2005, that never happened. 2010, it never happened. 2015, it never happened. To UFO, to off-world vehicles never happening. So it's not anything new. So I don't get too excited. I don't get too down because I know it's just par for the course.
All right. Lynn, I want to bring you in here for a second because one of the things that I have noticed through all of this is the fact that it's the same people interviewed every time. Every article has Harry Reid. Every article has Lou Elizondo. Every article has Nick Pope. Every article has David Fravor. Every article has Chris Mellon. At what point do we look at this, and it doesn't matter the outlet, whether it's the New York Times, whether it's Fox News, whether it's CNN, whomever it may be, it's the same people on and on and on. We don't see Richard Dolan. We don't see Grant Cameron. We, thank goodness Cheryl Costa announced that she was brought in for an article on the Wall Street Journal that she was quoted in about UFOs, because finally a different voice. But there are brilliant people in the UFO field. Nobody's getting any press except the same 4 or 5 people. Is that good? Is that bad? Or is it because the media really doesn't know how to cover this story?
Yes, all of the above.
That's right.
It really is. It really is. I think it's a little bit of everything. Sorry, I don't have a better answer.
Okay. So with that, Lynn,
what if?
Oh, go ahead, Eric.
What if they don't know where to go? I mean, so Nick Pope make them, the 4 big ones make themselves available.
Well, yeah, but if they did even the tiniest bit of research into the UFO community, they'd see Grant Cameron, they'd see Richard Dolan, they'd see all these other people. Yeah,
it's the narrative. Let me tell you, they want this government stuff out in the open because UAP is credible. Whatever they want to do, it's all about the government now. They don't want to deal with what's been done and all the stuff that's attached to it. They don't want Dolan's history anymore. We've heard it 100 times. Greer, we don't care about him anymore. Linda Moulton Howe, she's doing her own thing. Although but nonetheless, it's about UAP and the government. And unidentified and Luis Elizondo. That's the narrative now. That's what they're trying to push. Why should they care about what's been done and said a million times? This is new. Why not?
What I find funny though is they thought just changing an acronym would change their narrative. For most of us in the UFO community, it didn't. We still see UFOs as UFOs, whether they like to call them UAPs or not.
Well, that's what the government calls them because they don't want they don't want to get it mixed up with us, because they're special.
Absolutely,
their UFOs are really cool.
So, getting to the whole belief versus science thing, do you think the UFO pertains to belief and the UAP is their scientific fact, and that's where they see a difference?
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, yeah. And they're not unidentified aerial phenomena. They're they're unidentified moving objects,
right?
or
it's the same thing.
Yeah, but moving, aerial is in the atmosphere. What if they go in space or in water or through rocks?
Right.
So, yeah, they need to change it.
I think there's been a movement away from the term UFO to UAP. Because there has been a movement away from the extraterrestrial hypothesis in a lot of areas within ufology. And this has been largely due to the influence of people like Jacques Vallée and John Keel, because, they postulated that, maybe they're not coming from another star system. Maybe we're being visited by some sort of intelligence that is here. In a different dimension, in a different plane, in a different reality. So I think, ultimately it's still extraterrestrial, or ultra-terrestrial or whatever, term, not terrestrial that you want to call it. But again, it's not every case. Every case out there is not the same thing, each case is its own mystery, and there might be a variety of causes. Some of them may be ETH, some of them may be ultra-terrestrial, some of them may be secret military programs, which, I think, that's why certainly military intelligence is interested in that. They do want to cover up some of their own stuff, and they do definitely want to know if China's got something flying over here that can do tic-tac stuff, So, what we're dealing with, we don't know. But you're right. Some things are not, like a phenomena, some sort of strange event that, it transpires, that, it's very rare or whatever. Some people are seeing objects. Some people are seeing, nuts and bolts craft. And so, the UAP term doesn't necessarily fit.
They are staying away from the abductions for sure.
Oh, you don't hear anything about. No, you don't hear anything about abductions anymore. I mean, we do from the abductee side of it, but
how can they just dismiss that altogether? Yeah, it's amazing.
Because why would they admit something that they allowed in a contract?
If you look at the Regala, I always butcher the Renata treaty that Eisenhower did. Of course, you're going to see a whole bunch of people stepping up.
You get into the point where you have these aerial phenomena that are the tic tacs, and we have no control over that. If you want to throw in that these things are also abducting people, that's way too much for the public to handle.
Yeah, you're right.
That's why they're never going to go to that right off the bat.
Just the fact that they're not. Yeah, just the fact they're not talking about it speaks volumes.
Oh yeah.
Well, okay.
Well, you got to think. We can't even handle wearing masks. Come on, guys.
But here's the other side of that coin. You take the abduction side, and then you throw in a MyLab, where it's the government with aliens. Oh my God!
Right?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I was thinking
there's a lot of rabbit holes to go down. The military intelligence rabbit hole. The abductee experience. Which I think is certainly valid. You don't hear too much about it now. There's not too many abductees, on the conference, circuit. There are experiencers. They tend to be, more of a new age sort of spiritual bent. Are aliens still abducting? I don't know.
Yeah, and I think kind of everything we were just talking about too kind of leads back to, from my perspective, having talked with a bunch of experiencers, contactees, abductees, whatever it is they refer to themselves as. This is part of the fracture in the community because you have people coming at it from so many different angles. You have the people who have experienced MyLab, so they're going to go on a more military kind of route. You have the people that are saying, oh, well, I was visited by an ultra-terrestrial. They take the kind of the Jacques Vallée route. They have people who were saying they were getting physically abducted. You have people who are seeing things in the sky, whether or not they think it's secret, military technology or there's so many different perspectives. And unfortunately, I think that's what contributes to the fracture in the community, is because we're all coming at it from so many different angles.
Bingo.
Ultimately,
everybody, I'm going to get you to hold on
science.
right there. We do have to go to science, but we do have to go to break as well. The Paranormal Roundtable on Spaced Out Radio continues with Brian Bowden, Rich Giordano, William Pullin, Lynn Wallington, Michael Huntington, Coop, Cole, Kayla, and myself, Dave Scott. We'll be back right after this.
We're taking Sunday nights out of this world on Spaced Out Radio. This is Michael W. Hall, also known as the Paranormal Lawyer. Together, we're going to go on an exciting journey into the unknown. I'm going to bring you some of the best interviews in the paranormal and supernatural to start your new week off on a freaky note. So tune in to Spaced Out Sundays with me, Michael W. Hall, only on spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you'd know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have each and every one of you with us tonight. Thank you so much for taking the time. We want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show, and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. The SOR Paranormal Roundtable panel continues right now. Lynn Wallington, our resident witch. We got Eric Cooper, Cole, and Kayla from S4. We have William Pullin, our UFO historian, Michael Huntington, one of the top researchers and writers in this field, Bryan Bowden, 682,000 podcasts. He does 28 podcasts an hour that he's running live. Rich Giordano from Goof On Radio. Everybody, welcome back. I got to ask you guys, because this is something I brought up last night. I had Nicole Sakic on as a guest. She is a researcher assistant for Grant Cameron, and we were talking about this, and I don't know why I haven't thought about this more, but it was one of those questions that just kind of came out, and sometimes we get a good one every now and again. All right. And the question that I had for her, and I'm going to ask this to all of you, at what point did the field of ufology start trusting a bunch of spooks? And when did we all of a sudden believe that people who are former or current NDA holders, people who are former Alphabet agency members, are going to have the best interest for the public when it comes to UFOs? Michael, I want to start with you on this one.
Throughout the history of the subject, we've always had military intelligence of some sort involved, going all the way back to, Project Sign and Grudge, maybe even Roswell before that, military intelligence being involved. In the 50s and 60s, it's believed that military intelligence started influencing the subject and influencing the UFO communities by infiltrating, or at least, monitoring and infiltrating. NICAP was supposedly infiltrated. Yeah. Even Kehoe, who ran that group, who came from a military background, and pretty much was, one of the first to postulate that, the government was covering stuff up and trying to manipulate the subject. His organization itself was pretty much discredited by the 70s because it was believed that it was infiltrated by military intelligence. And then, going into the 80s, I should step back. There's Project Blue Book and the Condon Committee and all, the military influence over those. But, going into Roswell in the 80s, certainly, there were shenanigans going on there. The MJ-12 documents were, pretty popular in the 80s and the 90s, and pretty much established, the secret cabal sort of premise within ufology, within the culture. It's since been looked at as government disinformation, and then you follow that up with, alien autopsies and Paul Benowitz and, Richard Doty and the Air Force Office of Special Investigations. Throughout the history, there's been military intelligence involvement. Now, certainly they want to take advantage of people looking at the skies, and they want to take advantage of reports of unidentifieds. I think we're kind of seeing that today. Why would ATIP, sort of morph into To the Stars Academy? Because, maybe they want to, and they've talked about it, they want to have, monitoring devices on people's phones that can, report directly, to the stars, anything that's flying in the sky. And we got all sorts of things flying in the sky now. There's all kinds of drones, drones that may be coming from other countries. So, there's certainly a military interest there, and there's certainly manipulation, and it's always been prevalent, and it's going on, I think, to this day.
Bryan Bowden, I want to get you in here on this because, for a long time, we have all tried, you listen to the old school guys. Yes, they wanted the government information, like Michael said, but they also knew that they had to do the groundwork as ufologists, and that's how the field kind of developed. And we were always told, look, from Richard Doty previously to now, okay, we've known there are disinformation agents out there regarding this field. That isn't a conspiracy theory. That's proven fact in this field. So when we look at everything that has kind of gone on, Bryan, with this, should we be concerned with now we're putting the entire UFO future and all of the claims within the hands of a bunch of spooks?
Yeah, no, I'm all on board with that. I don't trust these guys as far as you can throw them. Their job prior to this is a lot more disinformation, infiltrating places and using it for their own or whoever they were reporting to's benefit. The fact that everybody's trusting all these people, I'm really shocked. I'm shocked not many more people are asking these questions. I've always said that, when you have a guy like Greer, he's a doctor, emergency room, but he's giving briefings to the president. Why? How does a guy that's nobody give briefings to the president? So there's something there on that one. And then you have, the Stars Academy it's just littered with these people. Yes, as a researcher, you need some of these people to come forward. You need to validate some of this information. But you also have to second guess what they're telling you. Why are they telling you this? Is there ulterior motives behind it? You cannot believe any of the stuff that comes out. There's something always behind it with these people. So how these people are being believed by everybody and everybody's on board. Oh, he's on board. He's past 25 years. He can talk about whatever. No, I know enough of these people in these lettered agencies, really nice people. But if you knew what they did, it would blow you away. And you can't, Leopard does not change its spots. That's it.
Good. All right. William Pullin, UFO historian. You followed this type of trail since your research in Roswell and the new Roswell crash to today. Should we be putting the UFO and the future of ufology and potentially disclosure in the hands of people who are more prepared to serve their country than those who have experienced it?
Well, we should always be wary of misinformation. Michael's right. There's an entire decades-long history of government involvement in this subject. Their motivations behind it can be bantied around and argued, but they've always been there. But in today's world, there's no need for misinformation efforts. We misinform ourselves. The UFO community believes in so many things that are not valid, incorrect information. We're not really good at vetting content. We still believe in hoax cases, so we're kind of our worst enemy that way. Should we trust the points of view of individuals that are working for the government? I don't know. I don't know if we should mistrust them, but we should keep them at arm's length and be aware of that, and ask questions when the information comes forward. The how, the why, what's the motivations behind that, and be very cautious. But we need to be cautious with all the information we take in. We can't just blindly accept things at face value. We need to do our homework. There have been spooks involved in the field inside and outside the community since the word go. You had the contactees in the 50s, the George Adamskis, who were claiming to have, and people of that nature were claiming to have been flown to Venus or Mars or Jupiter and visiting the princess of Mars, who was a buxom blonde, and this sort of thing that weren't grounded in reality. But people believe that. So this field has always been populated by those kind of individuals, whether inside the community or outside. So if we all did a better job vetting information and not trying to confirm our own belief structure and being more objective and cautious, we'd go a lot further than we are now. But that's kind of human nature. People want to believe what they believe, and then it doesn't get us anywhere.
Lynn, I want to bring you in, and then Rich and Eric, your points on this. Okay, and of course, Kayla or Kayla, sorry. Lynn, in regards to this, you work for Dr. Edgar Mitchell with the Free Experiencers. Now, the majority of us have never met the man before he passed away. He was the sixth man to walk on the moon, very much in favor of any type of alien/UFO disclosure, but also played the government game very well. And it's alleged that the Wilson documents came from his estate that has set off the firestorm. But let's just focus right now on the fact that there's a lot of government agents out there, and through your time with MUFON and Free Experiencers, you probably talked to a number of them, or maybe you have, maybe you haven't. I'm just assuming that you have. Do you look at this and say that we are putting too much faith in these alphabet agencies to all of a sudden have our best interest when it comes to ETs and disclosure?
Well, I definitely have had a chance to talk with a lot of experiencers while I was working with Free. I ran their support program, so I've had the chance to talk to about roughly 300 experiencers over those couple of years that I was there. And I guess my question would be, do they really believe these? Are they trusting? I really don't think that they are trusting these kind of government agents and military or post-military people that are giving us this information. Most of the people that I've spoken with are very distrustful of any type of government agency. So I'm not sure that they are trusting these people to begin with.
Okay, so if they aren't trusting, but if you look at the big picture, okay, take the To the Stars Academy, okay, Chris Mellon worked for the DIA, okay, Hal Puthoff has worked for government agencies. We have Lou Elizondo working for government agencies. We have Jim Semivan working for government agencies. The former assistant head of Lockheed Skunk Works. Guess what they do? They build black projects for government agencies. All right? Like, we have all of this darkness around. And we know, because I've been to conferences where I've spoken where, you start talking to somebody. Yeah, I'm a scientist. I'm interested in this subject. Oh, well, who do you work for? Oh, I work for the CIA, or I work for the NRO. They're out there. I've met them. Okay. And right. I'm sure a number of you have as well. Right. And so at what point in a subject that has been taboo for 70 years, Lynn, how are we supposed to put our trust in all of a sudden all of these people who have NDAs, all of these people who have signed their oath and their allegiance to the United States and the beautiful flag that you have? Okay. At what point do we say, they have the UFO field's best interests at heart here?
Well, we don't. And I don't that's kind of the point I guess I'm trying to make, is I don't think most people do trust them in the UFO community. Now, if you're looking at the American public at large, yes, I think they're going to be much more willing to accept what these people will say as fact. But within the UFO community itself, I think people are always questioning this type of information. Whether or not these people are in the community doesn't mean that they are trusted within the community.
All right. Richie G, need your opinion.
What's up? Well, I remember what it was like before I got into ufology, and I used to believe everything I heard on TV. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. That's unbelievable. And they'd keep showing it, I'm like, what, God, I can't believe that's a real UFO, especially with the Phoenix Lights, It was very eye-opening experience. But now that I'm in the field, a number of years, it's the same thing every 2 to 3 years. And, somebody's stepping up from the government, or like TTSA formed, and what are they? All those people together, that's like an all-star team for ufology, government-wise. Everybody there has worked in the government except for, DeLong. So to me, that just tells me they're not going to give us the information, even if they get it. So what does that mean for the rest of ufology? It means tough darts. You're only going to get what we tell you, and that's that. Yet we still wait for TTSA to come out with something. What do they say now? Or Jim Semivan, or anybody else who comes out with an article or an interview. Yeah, we're suckers, man. We're suckers, but we don't believe it. I don't understand it. It's just a crazy world to be in.
Eric Cooper.
Well, you know, with TTSA, we, as many highfalutin people that's in the organization, we should learn a whole lot more by now in 3 years.
Yep.
So, you know, no, I don't trust any of them. I believe what I see. And when I get information, I like to vet it with five different sources. As far as the military goes, I can speak from experience that, yeah, no, soldiers don't divulge secrets to strangers. They don't. Maybe to a family member, maybe, but no. So if someone says, "Oh, I was Special Forces," everybody thinks they're Special Forces. But no, you can say you're a military all you want. Prove it, because most soldiers or Marines, or I'm sorry, I'm being biased here, or Marines, Air Force, whatever. Yeah, no, they don't divulge classified secrets.
Yeah, but I mean, for years, sorry.
Go ahead, Kayla.
Okay, for years, people have been coming out and telling everybody, hey, this is my story, this is my story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Nobody listened to any of them because, for the most part, they're no-name people. They're nobodies from different areas of the world. Okay, and when somebody comes out and says, hey, I've done this, I'm this guy, I'm a public figure that everybody knows, and they say something happened, every other person is listening to it.
Yeah.
Because you kind of understand that person's personality, maybe because they're a public figure. You know, you may be able to trust them more, for even though it's all an act for TV or whatever. But that's just the public. Mm-hmm. They're very gullible that way when it comes to those people.
Right,
but
faces you know.
Yeah, I guess so. And they're not even telling the truth. That's the funny thing. I don't know. You know, I like watching those shows where they have celebrities on, and for some reason they come across as believable. And I don't know if it's because they're in front of a camera their whole lives or whatever, but what do they have to gain by lying? Like Dan Aykroyd.
Well, I think we also want to attach some sort of celebrity to them. And when you have somebody who claims to have worked in government agencies on the UFO files, that gives you an instant celebrity that you are somebody of knowledge that the media can trust on that, whether it's the mainstream media or whether it's television shows or what have you. But in the end, you know, it's all spin doctoring, Michael, is it not?
Well, in the end, you know, what we're seeing predominantly within ufology these days is camps within ufology, especially, you know, the disclosures camp, seeing that the way to resolve the UFO problem is to engage in politics or public relations. Politics in that, you know, we believe the government has secrets and we're going to, you know, engage in UFO activism to get them to reveal the secrets, you know, problem solved, or we're going to engage in public relations in order to get, you know, the people of the world aware of the solution of the problem in order to help, you know, politically to come to a solution. But ultimately, you know, any political solution is going to be a political solution, and whether or not it can be trusted. You know, even if the government comes out tomorrow and, you know, says things, there's going to be people within the UFO community that's going to say false flag, you know, or manipulation. And they may be right or may not be right. And even if, you know, the PR part, you know, through media, through, you know, exploitation, television, you know, whatever, you know, even if we convince, you know, majority of the people on the planet that UFOs are a reality, you know, that's not to say they're extraterrestrial or whatever, you know, we're still not solving the problem. We're still not answering, you know, what UFOs are, you know, and they're probably a lot of different things. So it's incumbent upon the UFO community to, you know, not go off track and not go down these rabbit holes that we've been down before, and eventually start to move towards trying to present this in a scientific manner to mainstream science. That's who you need to convince. we don't need another Ancient Alien, channel documentary to, show that UFOs are real. What we need is some good science, presented to, the National Academy of Science. We need long-term programmatic investigations into all these different types of phenomena, and we need a scientific bent. We need to move away from the exploitation. We need to move away from trying to convince people. We need to move away from getting permission from the government, to come up with solutions. And we need to start to engage in serious scientific investigations into the UFO phenomena, ghost phenomena, psychic phenomena, all this sort of stuff. Because there might be some sort of link between them. At least as far as the pseudoscientific aspects, they all need to convince science. That's how you convince science. That's how you convince the establishment, by doing good science. And that's what I encourage. I encourage us to not go down these rabbit holes as much, not follow the Pied Pipers from military intelligence, and start to come up with programs. MUFON has, the reason it's so low on people's radar within the UFO world is because it's it became a PR company. It became a media company, and To the Stars is largely a media company slash military intelligence company. I don't know how that works out, but we need some science done. Nobody's doing the science. Nobody's out there trying to solve the problem.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing too, is they've privatized it. So once they privatize it, they don't have to release the information to you.
The science is being done, but it's not focused on by anybody. Very select people are focused in that the underlying thread, that pin that's going to connect everything to everything and validate what we're doing right now is in quantum mechanics.
Exactly.
It's going to blow the doors off of everything. And it's not really brought into the mainstream. It's going to validate every theory, practice, ghost, cryptids, you name it. It will validate it. We're going to be doing things once this becomes bigger and bigger that we read about in science fiction books. And until that happens, regular scientists they're only limited by whatever laboratory they're working on, and basically mainstream type of science. There are people that are really pushing the envelope quantitatively that these scientists couldn't even wrap their brains around, and they're pretty smart individuals. So once we get that science going, I think you're going to really see this huge. It's going to be a floodgate, and everything's going to have to come out because it's all related.
Yeah, but even when science.
Go ahead quickly. You got 10 seconds.
Okay. Even when they did come out with the Higgs boson thing and the theory and the God particle and all of that, nobody listened and nobody cared.
No, we're too inundated with everything that we have to do in our daily lives, and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, because, putting up meals and pictures of pets is way more important and a lot more fun, too. Hour 3 of the SOR Paranormal Roundtable continues right after this on Spaced Out Radio. What about the experiencers, those who are seeing UFOs, those who are in contact or being abducted by aliens? Let's turn up the woo in Hour 3 of the SOR Roundtable coming up.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightlines Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines Report on the Spaced Out Radio website and let's figure out what's going on together.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do?
Why not get bumblefucked?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spicing up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight. I want to say thank you to everybody tuning on in on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio digitally. Remember, all of our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Woofler. Woofler is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, has a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show and on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. We bring in the panel for the SOR Roundtable, which we do near the end of each month so we can discuss, debate the month that was in the weird and strange. This one has pretty much been a full UFO show because a lot of the news was based around UFOs. Our panel tonight, UFO historian William Pullin, Lynn Wallington, Michael Huntington, Bryan Bowden. He has about 878 podcasts out there going at the same time. From Goof On Radio, Rich Giordano, and from S4, we have Eric, the Coop, with a great beard, fantastic beard, Cole and Kayla as well. Everyone, welcome back to the show. And we're going to get into the experiencer side of things here. Rich, I want to bring you in to kick things off, okay? Because, you know, through the whole debate over the last couple of years, it is all a bit about the science of UFOs. How can they turn the way they do? What is their energy? How are they built? Why are they able to go from 30,000 feet to 10 feet above sea level in less than 2 seconds? I mean, there is a lot of cool technology that the scientists are very much intrigued by. But the forgotten part, in my opinion, is the experiencer out there. Those who have seen black triangles, you know, while they're driving down the highway. Those who claim to have been abducted. Those who have claimed to have seen extraterrestrials and had some sort of contact. This is something that I think has been all of a sudden muted in the UFO community. Where do we stand on the experiencer side of thing, and what should be that role?
It's weird. It goes back to when that Dr. Lear, the guy who used to remove the implants in abductees, and when he passed away, it seemed that the abductions started to dwindle away with him. It was weird. It was almost like he was an anchor for it. Yeah, it seems like it's hit a little rut in the road, but you know what? Other things are happening at the same time. A lot of stuff is being pulled away from it from mainstream news, New York Times, you know, and everything else. So with that being said, they are being left on the side, but there's also less of them coming forward in the main, you know, like I guess into mainstream media. I don't know. It's really weird. You never really see abductee stories in mainstream media. Yeah, that's weird. You used to. I remember in the 80s, there used to be people on TV talking about it. You don't see it that much. At least in Arizona we did, because it's very active here.
Okay, but is that fair to the crowd, Rich?
No, it's not. It's not fair to them at all. I have people who contact me who want to come on my show and tell their story. And it's sad. They just want to tell people their story and nobody's listening to it. It's weird. So yeah, I think we need to, even myself, we need to start listening to them again because they tell the story. I think they have the story. They have the key to this because they're close up and personal. Whatever's happening, it's closer than what I'm getting. Pictures, things in the sky, it doesn't really matter, but they're actually having contact. And that, to me, not like Stephen Greer contact, I'm talking about abduction contact. They actually believe it's happening to them. So, and it's not just once or twice, lifetime. 50 years. Yeah, it's amazing. These stories are being pushed aside or not listened to. I think we need to start, bringing them back because that's where the truth is.
Well, not to mention, you talk to the experiencer, you actually, in some cases, get to the science. Because, the true abductees, because there are some that just want the fame, the glory, the attention. But the true abductees do have marks on the body. They do have implants. And you're absolutely right. Once Lear died, he was the prime surgeon to take out the implants. Nobody really stepped up to do it.
No.
I have heard there is another one that is doing it. I can't remember his name, and that sucks. But he was the primary surgeon to pull out the implants. You get the implant, there are frequencies to them. They do have radio frequencies. That was proved on UFO hunts. They actually, went and did one.
Yeah.
But no, you start getting the experiencer out more often, you will get to the science in some of these cases. And you're absolutely right. We do still hear from we have experiencers. We talk about abduction all the time on S4. So has it slowed down? Absolutely not. It's just not on the mainstream anymore.
No.
But that's the purpose. It's not even on the radar of people because everybody wants to know what the government knows. Everybody wants to know what the scientists know. Everybody is worried about the technology. How many times have we seen the media over the last little bit have opportunities with the people of the Pentagon or whomever to ask solid questions about, well, what happened at Roswell? What happened at Phoenix? In Canada, what happened at Shag Harbor? They haven't done it.
They don't.
They haven't done it whatsoever. Okay, and they are dodging the questions, and this is, and I blame the media for that. I really do. Okay, but in the end, Lynn, I want to bring you in here for a second because as a former volunteer helper with the free experiencers, you dealt with a lot of these people, and experiencers I have talked to feel a little bit gypped in this whole thing because they're wondering, well, what about me? What about what happens to me on a monthly basis or a weekly basis? What is going on?
What is going on as far as, is it still happening, or what is going on, meaning like why is it not being told more?
Why were the experiencers are being shunned in this whole new UFO movement?
Well, I mean, these are simply my observations, but I'd say for the past, 20 or so years, experiencers have been portrayed as crazy and kooky, and it seems that in the media, at least, they seem to be trying to take a more scientific approach and have some sort of factual basis that they're reporting on. There's a lot of air quotes going on. You can't see this at the moment, but there are. And I think that it would, being as how that is how they're portraying it at the moment in the media, to then bring in someone who just says, hey, here's this housewife from Indiana who claims she's been abducted 25 times. I don't think that they're willing to do that. I mean, we were talking earlier about that article where they were, discussing one tiny little quote from who was it, Henry Reid, and it became this big ordeal. And it was just one tiny little quote. So then you take someone who says, oh, well, I've been abducted 25 times and this is what's happened to me, and I had hybrid children. Nobody's going to report on that because it would be like career ending, I would imagine, at this point in time.
It's interesting because in 2017, we actually did see a spike of people coming out talking because they actually thought it was okay back then. But now, no.
You don't want to be labeled.
Oh, Tom, I was going to say one of the things we do, see, when I'm not podcasting, Dave, I have a group called the New York State UFO Project, and we have live meetings in 2 separate portions of the state. We have a lot of people that are experiencers that come there. A lot of people just sit and watch and listen. And a few of them, after about a couple of months, even a year, will eventually retell their story. There's a lot of fear in this, and there's a trust issue. They're afraid of what they're experiencing, a lot of them, and they don't trust people because they've told people that were the closest to them, family members, and they're considered crazy. So why would you go out and want to be doing this publicly? Now, some of these people, these experiencers, are lucky enough to be able to deal with it, or they figured a way to deal with it, and they're a little bit more coming forward with it. But I'd be cautious about some of them that are coming forward with it and maybe trying to get their 15 minutes, because I've seen the real fear on these people's faces, and they are deathly afraid of what's taking place with them.
Right. And that's absolutely true. I mean, that was a lot of what I dealt with too, is that a lot of these people, one, were traumatized by their experience, and two, afraid of what people would think of them. And they did, in fact, have issues with those that were closest to them, their husbands, their parents, their siblings. Some of them were disowned because of this. Like, there were some serious consequences for speaking out about this.
Yeah. How do you tell somebody that I've been abducted and I have kids or children in space?
Yeah.
I mean, that blows you away.
Right.
I mean, on the comical side, I would say, okay, we'll get their social security number. We'll claim on taxes. But, I mean, that's tough to deal with when you're having a real child. Like, hey, you're going to be a dad. Oh, my God. Now you have like 15 hybrid kids. And some of these hybrids actually come and visit their parents, and they're standoffish. That's a really scary situation to be in.
Right.
Well, and that's what's interesting too, is it's changed. We had a few cases that we were dealing with a year or two ago where the hybrids are actually being born here on Earth, a natural birth, versus back in the 90s to early 2000s, they were actually being born on the ship. That is a change in the hybrid program.
Well, I think more and more people are one of the good things about this becoming public is that it's a little bit more acceptable, or a lot more acceptable, and maybe it can come a little bit more mainstream. So maybe they are doing births live, and people are able to deal with the fact that they have this beautiful child, be it a creation of between two different species or races. But in general, it's still a scary prospect for a lot of these people. And mostly there's a couple of men that are freaked out. But mostly the women are dealing with it a lot better than the men. I'll tell you that right now.
Right. All right, William, go ahead, Lynn, and then William Pullin.
I was just going to say, I think one other obstacle that these experiencers are having in telling their story is that even within the UFO community, they're questioned. They are disbelieved at times. They still find kind of that they have to fight back, and say, no, this really did happen to me. And so if they're dealing with that in the UFO community, why in the world would they then take it to the public at large, who they know are not going to believe them?
True. William Pullin.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of blame to go around. I mean, if I had a UFO experience, I would want to come out and discuss it. I could care less what people think. We want that. We want the data. We want people to be comfortable coming forward. Part of the issue I have with the community is not the experiencers, it's the researchers. There's a lot of individuals in the community that are conducting themselves in very unprofessional ways. And when you act unprofessional, when you act in an amateurish way, are witnesses going to want to come forward and discuss things with that researcher? Of course not. No. I mean, who among us would be comfortable going to a doctor's office and that doctor's constantly making light of our situation or acting in an amateurish manner? We wouldn't. We'd be very uncomfortable with that. We would not want to go visit that doctor again. Same thing, we're going to visit an attorney. The attorney is always laughing about our situation or not taking it seriously. We would not advocate we would not go to their business anymore. We would not pay for the services. We have a lot of that. We have a lot of amateurish groups and researchers in this field that come off in a certain way. And that does make a lot of experiencers not comfortable coming forward. If we all acted in a more professional, cordial, respectful, objective way, then far more witnesses, in my opinion, would be coming forward. So that's certainly part of it. Another aspect is research. Witnesses, experiencers need to come forward, period, more often. I mean, a good majority don't ever come forward. And I understand the reasons why, but it's holding us back. So it's a double-edged sword. But there's a lot of blame to go around in this situation.
All right, Michael Huntington, experiencers. What's their role now in today's ufology? Does it even exist?
Well, experiencers certainly have a role within ufology. In fact, I think people that are described as experiencers or identify themselves as experiencers make up the bulk of people that attend UFO conferences and consume, the UFO media that's out there. I think we have to take a step back and try to first figure out what, an experiencer is. Because within the field, and this depends on the conference, it depends on the region, it depends on the research groups or whatever. There's sort of people don't really know what that means. A lot of people are saying that just mere witnesses are experiencers. And it goes from being a witness, and then it goes to the full gamut of of course, abductions, classic abductions, long-term abductions, all the way to, and I've met these people as well, people claiming to be starseed reincarnated draconians, So I think ufology is really having some trouble trying to figure out how to analyze this, study this in a way that promotes further study in the field, but it's kind of hard to do in a scientific way because you have to sort of predispose. You sort of have to embrace the notion that there is extraterrestrial visitation in the first place, and there's plenty of people willing to do that. And I'm open to that as well. I've met people myself that of course I've met the people on the far end, but I've met genuine people that did not want to have the abduction experience, and they're genuine. And ufology has tried to going back to Betty and Barney Hill, this goes back throughout, the lore of the subject, the case studies of the subject. It's part of the study, but we don't know how to deal with it. If you're overly critical, you're viewed as being skeptical. If you're too embracing, you get into the religious sort of belief system aspects. A lot of the UFO organizations have become, pseudo therapy groups, for experiencers, for people that have gone through traumatic abductions. So, it's hard to say. I think we're dealing with a lot of different things. I think there are some people that have out there, a good chunk of people that have had genuine experiences, and ultimately, as a materialist, I think belief in them is going to have to be substantiated by some sort of physical evidence, an implant or something like that. Otherwise, you can believe in their veracity, but ultimately it's just going to be an anecdote. Yep. Are there aliens coming down, or ultra-terrestrials, or demons or whatever coming down and abducting people? That's quite possible. How do we demonstrate that? I don't know. I think we have to demonstrate it physically, physicality, with some sort of evidence. Do we ignore them? No, because they make up the bulk of the people searching for answers. What they've experienced, that's, I think it's not going to be answered in a lot of cases. Ultimately, it's going to be people's own belief and their own experience.
Yeah, but can you imagine the mass hysteria from us, or from a news outlet or from the government or from anything like that saying, yes, UFOs are real. They are coming down and they are abducting people. They're taking them to their ship. They're performing procedures on them and doing hybrid programs. And there's nothing we can do to stop them.
Yeah. Yeah, that some people envision that as, being part of the disclosure process, that the government would eventually say that. But does that mean that every single abduction case is real? Some may not be. Some may be, there may be psychological components. There may be environmental components. People have theorized that electromagnetic fields can create, hallucinatory hypnagogic episodes, and there may be some sort of natural thing. It may be a lot of different things. Certainly there is a percentage of people, with some sort of, with mental illness, and they're coming to the community because they're not getting the answer from the psychological, medical mainstream, to help them in a way that, that is conducive to them. But also we walk a sort of a precarious tightrope by turning portions of the UFO field into, pseudo psychiatrists and pseudo therapists, because a lot of people are untrained. They're maybe trained in hypnosis, but they're not trained in therapy. And then we also do open up, possibilities like the Carpenter affair, where information is sold. People's medical and psychological backgrounds are sold to the government, So
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, that's where the trust factor goes out the window. Once that happened and Bigelow was buying all the experiencer case files, then yeah, I think that's if I look at the timeline right, that is where you start seeing experiencers slowing down on coming out. Mm-hmm. And you're absolutely right. The true experiencer doesn't want their story told. They want to know that it's going to be held in complete confidence and not sold to the highest bidder or to a movie company or whatever.
I think the answer is for us to be polite. We should be polite to everybody and cordial and professional to everybody, and not be mocking. Yes. Let's start with that as a basis, and and then explore these things, but do it in a rational, logical way. Because I can tell you from the experiencers that I've met that I think are genuine, and I mean abductees in this sense, they want real answers too. The real people in this subject, and this goes for ghosts and Bigfoot and other fields as well. Legitimate researchers want real answers. They don't want to be self-deluded. They don't want to live in a fantasy world just as much as we don't want to say that they're living in a fantasy world. We want to know that there's, objective experiences occurring, and we want to try to, be able to figure out how they're occurring and why.
Absolutely. And guys, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. And when we come back, alien DNA. Oh, if you have tinfoil around where you are, you're going to want to put this. Yes, because we are right there about to speak alien DNA. Demons, aliens, coronavirus. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It all ties together on the SOR Paranormal Roundtable as we look to take this home. Stay tuned. More Spaced Out Radio coming up.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio fans! It's John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from dance to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com. We rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight. I want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram @Spaced Out Radio Show and on Twitter @Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. For the final time tonight, we introduce our panel for the SOR Paranormal Roundtable. We have Rich Giordano from Goof On Radio, Michael Huntington. He is a UFO researcher, paranormal researcher, writer, author. He's one of the best out there. UFO historian William Pullin. Bryan Bowden, who has 996 podcasts out there. Lynn Wallington, our resident witch. And from S4, we have Cole, Kayla, and the bearded wonder, Eric Cooper. Now, we're going to get into a final story here, everyone, because earlier this week, we had just an incredible story. Incredible. So a Houston physician who has praised hydroxychloroquine as a miracle coronavirus cure, okay, well, she's a little spaced out, to steal the name of this show, okay? Yes. Dr. Stella Emanuel, believes that gynecological problems on sex with evil spirits. She blames the U.S. government for being run by reptilians. Oh, I like her already. All right. And now she's saying that we have alien DNA that can help cure COVID.
Oh, wow.
Where the heck is this lady coming from, Richie G?
She's definitely within my family. No, I'm kidding. No, that's I had to throw one in there. I think she how could that be? How could she actually say that without actually working with it? Or saying that doctors use alien DNA to make medicine?
Oh, pardon me. I misquoted it. She rails against the use of alien DNA to treat sick people. I apologize.
Oh, she rails against it? Okay. Well, then
yes.
I must have not read this article then, so I shouldn't comment.
Oh, of course you should. You're Richie G.
I know, but I shouldn't. Well, it sounds a little... All right, then give me something to work with.
Okay.
Okay,
so do we have alien DNA? Are we injecting it into people? All right.
Yes.
Should women be, careful of their private parts because, there's demons in there wanting to have sex with them?
Why not? People are getting abducted by demons. Isn't that, didn't we just talk about that as being possible fact? Well,
yes.
Can't dismiss it. I know it sounds weird coming from me. God, I don't know how to think that way. Yeah, of course it's not happening. It's just crazy talk. But why would she do that, though?
I don't know.
Is
but
she one of these?
I know, I'm confusing it again.
Just let
Can I say
Kayla
something
speak
real
first.
quick, though?
No,
Is
it's
she
Kayla's
one of
turn.
these people? Is she one of these people that believes alien DNA is because you're Rh negative?
RH negative, yeah.
Oh, well,
So
she hasn't
doesn't
mentioned
want,
that.
Okay.
She hasn't mentioned that. Now, this is what she said. Okay, this article reads, further research on Dr. Emanuel's webpage, now accessible only via an archive website, as well as her YouTube account, reveal a long list of bizarre and unscientific beliefs. These include that tormenting spirits routinely have astral sex with women, which in turn causes gynecological problems, marital distress, miscarriages, and more. Then she goes on, because she leads a religious group called Firepower Ministries. She says, there are people ruling this nation that are not even human, describing them as reptilian spirits who are half human, half ET. Coop.
Well, here's my problem. Okay, so, it came up in Forest Boom Paranormal earlier this week because we brought that up. And, someone brought up the point, well, don't we believe the same thing? No, actually, we do and we don't. Some of it I can get on board with, but no, I'm not David Icke. I'm not going to say reptilians run the government. No. But here's my problem. Because someone said, well, that doesn't take away the fact she's a doctor. I'm sorry. My wife's not going to go to a doctor with gynecological problems to a doctor that says it's caused by demons. No, that's not medical practice. I guess that's where I would draw the line.
At the same time, how can we dismiss her beliefs when we are expecting disclosure ourselves on our beliefs?
Here's the problem, though. When those beliefs cross the line of medical practice, which saying demons are the cause of cysts on your ovaries, come on now.
But my beliefs can cross that line. I'll do surgery on someone. I have no problem with that.
Here, I'll give you.
I'll give you cold scalp now. The reality is, we're laughing at this topic, yet we investigate alien abduction. We investigate hybrid. We were just talking about hybrid children right beforehand. This is exactly what she is talking about as a medical professional. Michael Huntington, your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I mean, just a knee-jerk reaction, and I don't know if it's because, she's right-wing politically or whatever, but yeah, there are plenty of liberal folks out there that believe the same sort of thing, and there's plenty of people within the UFO community that believe that. There's a good chunk of people that do buy into the alien DNA theory, with reptilians and, royal families and all that. And there's even establishment UFO researchers that, have taken the beliefs of, like Jacques Vallée, who believes that, stories of demonic possession or demonic abduction or abduction by fairies or whatever is an archetypal story referencing some sort of interdimensional being, a malevolent creature from another dimension that pops over here and does, strange sexual experiments. That's kind of what we're talking about with abductions, right? So, I don't know. Is it, because one man's demon is another man's alien, I mean, really, even Tom DeLonge has sort of alluded to that, there are malevolent creatures from other dimensions, taking Vallée another step, obviously influenced by Hal Puthoff, who worked with Vallée at the Stanford Research Institute back in the 70s, that there are malevolent creatures from other places elsewhere coming here, and that they've influenced our genetics over the millennia, since the beginning of man, I guess, even. And we just see them as a different way. And that, there's even cabals, groups within our own government that are, pro-Christian groups that are trying to squash UFO research because they believe it has a demonic origin. I don't know. I think she is sort of, has embraced that, that far right religious, sort of viewpoint, the David Icke sort of stuff. But, we're all kind of guilty of playing into that a little bit, regardless of politics, regardless of your establishment stance or how far out on the fringe you are.
Yeah, I think Joe put it best in the chat room on your YouTube thing. You can't have fringe beliefs in society and complain that you're persecuted most of the year and then laugh at some lady because of her beliefs. It's just not right.
Yep.
No, exactly. William Pullin, your opinion on this?
I find it a little embarrassing.
Where to go with this? Do you even know where to go with this?
No, I do. I found it painfully embarrassing that we can discuss things that are obviously non-mundane, that are not everyday occurrences, with a straight face, and accept testimony from people that don't have any physical evidence in the vast majority of cases, which is not to say they're not experiencing events, but we're taking witness testimony and the vast majority of those people don't have any physical evidence. But we're taking those at face value, which we should in a respectful, cordial, professional manner. Yet this young woman is making claims, again, her own beliefs with no physical evidence, but we find that laughable. It's an interesting quandary why that is. It would be interesting to see if this person was not a doctor and was just another alien experiencer. Would she be laughed at?
That is very true. I mean, how much does her medical career hold weight in this, William?
Yeah, I mean, and then are we holding her accountable for, or is our opinion of her beliefs different because she's a doctor or not? Because if she's just going to put forth her beliefs without any physical evidence, why are we laughing at her? We don't laugh at experiencers.
We don't laugh at starseed people either. You know, literally the word seed is
so that
in
that needs to be answered. Yeah.
Well, I think also part of the issue with her is that she's giving out or making statements that can be harmful to people by saying that, such actual physical ailments as endometriosis, fibroids, et cetera, are a result of, having sex with demons or witches in the astral form. It's giving out advice to people that isn't accurate. But if people are uninformed enough to accept that advice, is it her fault or theirs?
Both,
yeah. I agree.
Agreed. Both.
That's the wonderful thing about our two countries. You can choose which doctor to go to.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I have no problem about the woman's beliefs because it's very, very much based in her religious beliefs, and that's where this is coming from. But if you're going to put these doctors in front of people or in this situation, before you go to a doctor, you have to vet your doctor, right? So if you have a good doctor and you want to go to an orthopedist, you say, do you know a good orthopedist? These people should have vetted this woman, doctor, prior to, putting her on in a national forum. I'm not discrediting her beliefs. I don't mix my religious beliefs in my business beliefs because I'm not in that zone. But I know plenty of people in multiple different religions that are held by their religious beliefs first before they go into their professional beliefs.
I want to bring up one point, though, and I think Lynn will agree with me to an extent on this one, is as a witch, and her being a witch, when you have a proclaimed doctor come out talking about witches and demons that are coming in their sleep. I have a BA in Homeland Security. I track extremists and I track terrorist groups. That's one thing I do along with the paranormal. There's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of extremist views out there. The minute you have a doctor coming on a national forum at our White House that's talking about witches that are attacking people in their sleep, we all know from mass shooting experiences and from other extremist experiences.
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
That does bring out extremists that can start targeting witches. That's where I come from. One aspect of this.
Lynn?
Yeah, it's definitely something to consider for sure. I had only heard kind of a little blurb about this woman, so I was reading it while we were on break, the article about her, and I'm honestly exhausted by the number of things that she's saying that I'm doing. So, there were quite a few things she was saying that witches are doing. I was impressed with this, honestly. It's one of the few times in my life that I'm at a loss for words. But yeah, it's certainly for those of us who are witches or in that community, it's certainly something that we need to think about and consider. Absolutely.
It is. And but the idea is, though, that the mainstream society, Lynn, is laughing at this lady. All right. And yet here we are even discussing some of these topics tonight like they are natural and that they are happening. And we all believe it when it's somebody who doesn't wear a white laboratory coat with a stethoscope around their neck, right? So how far off? Take away the political side, okay? Take away the political side of everything and the religious side of everything. On a professional side, we accept it from the experiencer, but she's saying the exact same thing, and now we are chastising.
She's saying the exact same thing, but she's also adding in other things that are, in fact, dangerous. She is an advocate of corporal punishment for children. She's saying that children need to be whipped. She is talking about medical diagnoses that need medical intervention, not, withdrawal from demon sex. I'm not exactly sure what she's advocating to cure these things. But these are things that are dangerous. It's dangerous advice to give to people. These are things that could actually harm people. And that is where the difference is. In my mind, that is where the difference is.
Makes sense.
What we're talking about here in her case would be blasphemy. See, as a research investigator, you come across people similar to this in multiple ways. And I believe that they believe what they're believing, but I don't necessarily believe it. I think if you're a learned person, you'll understand that certain people have certain beliefs that don't jive with what is really exists, and you're not going to change these people. I do understand what you're saying, Lynn, too. It does cause harm because then you get a group of people that believe her and everything she's saying, and now it's the witch trials all over again. We don't have to do that. But I don't think you need to really chastise her for her belief system, though.
No, I'm not chastising her for her belief system,
No.
but I'm saying.
Yeah, I wasn't saying you were. I'm just saying people in general giving her a hard time. Right. It's walk in her shoes. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
I just worry.
Go ahead, Kayla.
Well, wouldn't the whole thing about gynecological problems and everything cause a lot of breakups in marriages and stuff as well, due to the fact that they would think that they were cheating on them with a demon?
That is interesting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I haven't had demon sex before.
Well, then you haven't lived.
Quiet.
Oh yes. The best part about it is we're almost done because we only got about 3 minutes here before we gotta start wrapping things up. I gotta say, Richie, I'm gonna give you the final comment on this one. Final comment.
Didn't I already comment?
I know. I'm right back to you. I want you to, tell us what the whole. Are you into the whole demon sex thing, Rich? Come on, just admit it to us.
No, I guess so, because every morning I wake up, I'm exhausted.
That's aliens.
Sweating.
That is aliens.
Never mind.
You live in Phoenix. You're always sweating.
No, it's a dry heat. It's from hell, Dave. I live in hell. It was 116 degrees today. Anyway, I don't know. Is it because this woman's a doctor? Is that why it's such a big deal? Because she's going to be caring for people with strange beliefs? Is that what we're talking about still?
I guess so.
Yeah, I commented earlier. I don't want the last word. I don't have anything good to say. I didn't read the article that much.
Oh, way to bail on it, Rich. Way to bail on it. Your parachute opened. Your parachute opened. Isn't that right? Isn't that true? Michael Huntington, how about you?
Maybe we just need more exorcisms. Or sexorcisms in this case. I don't know.
Did the Vatican pick that up?
Yeah. I don't know. People are going to believe her. Some are going to not believe her. I personally don't lean towards that as a medical diagnosis, but You know, yeah, we don't want to slip back into the dark ages, certainly. You know, we want a rational basis in things. If she's got alien DNA, I'd like to see her prove it.
Oh, that would be great. The alien DNA is something that really, really got me going, because it's like, really? Like,
right.
Did she just, out of all people, give us disclosure? Is that what this is all about? We finally got disclosure from a medical doctor. Hey, I got to start wrapping this thing up here.
Oh.
I want to say thank you to everybody on the Paranormal Roundtable. Eric Cooper, Cole, Kayla from S4, which can be heard on Spreaker. We have Bryan Bowden. He's got about 11,682 podcasts. You know, he's going to do another podcast on alien DNA very soon. We got Rich Giordano from Goof On Radio, UFO historian William Pullin, and one of my favorite guests who's going to be doing a little bit more with SOR in the near future, our resident witch, Lynn Wallington, and, of course, somebody I have much respect for in this field as a writer, as an author, as a researcher, is Michael Huntington. We are very lucky to have all of these people on tonight to break down everything weird, strange in the field of ufology and alien DNA. And you know what? It made for a great show, and thank you to our audience for tuning on in. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thaw rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, wherever you may be. Thank you to everybody participating in our chat rooms tonight on Spreaker, YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Facebook, the SOR Space Travelers Club on our website, and, of course, to all the snarkers and snarkettes at hashtag Spaced Out Radio on Twitter. Hey, Derek, we hit peak woo tonight. Yes. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Remember, everybody, the Woo train may have docked for the night, but soon we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, guess what? We have room for them, too. Good night.